Yeah, so welcome everybody to tonight's or this afternoon's meeting at Human Connection here in English. Me, Dennis Hack, and the team is welcoming you here for this session. I see here in this channel is Victor. He's one of the most important people here at Human Connection, organizing really a lot of things and working around everything that burns and putting off the flames. Yeah, and Nina is living in Canada. She's supporting us in the marketing. And Sandra, she's living here in Germany, also supporting us in the marketing and in the community management. Yeah, so welcome Bianca, Joachim, and Tom to this meeting. We have an open discussion here, so you can really start to ask your questions about Human Connection. You can here, for example, see this like a click dummy, like a a testing thing, a graphical one which is not functional, which is in the internet. So it's only just a surface to see how Human Connection works. So I can also answer you the questions by explaining it with the help of this testing version.
Okay.
Yeah, ask your question.
Sure. Okay. So I haven't really got a sense of the platform. I can just basically see your magazine page. So what kind of software are you backing it with? Is there anything, like what's your driving software that you're?
Yeah, we use different frameworks. In general, we work with JavaScript.
Good job.
So because it's really fast, we had the PHP stack free in total.
Okay.
The first two ones were made by a Russian programmer. Then like the idea of Human Connection was like erupting in Germany, at the beginning of last year. Yeah, we had a third stack which was made by a team, and we had to choose a standard. It was Laravel.
Laravel. Yeah, I went with Laravel too for my software.
Yeah, it's very easy to get in because it's very good documented, and we decided to use this like Volkswagen, but not on the really speediest platform. And there was one programmer, his name is Greg. He's living in Hamburg, and he decided to go this risky step, and really made the first turnover to the JavaScript version within a few months, and presented the first real alpha version on a festival. And now we have worked on that version, and for sure if we are donated or the money for us is always donated, so we have to really take care of the money. It means that with JavaScript we go almost 10 times faster on average. That means that we need 10 times less money for the server costs.
I understand the scaling. How many hours of programming you got into the system so far, like total man hours?
It's the maybe more important question is how many people are working right now on the network. I would say it's 2 people full-time.
Okay.
And like maybe 8 to 10 people partly, but it's difficult. You can when you're not able to follow in the speed we go, you can really contribute to the work. That means that the biggest problem here at Human Connection is the time for the people.
Yeah. So are you saying you got 2 full-time senior coders, then 8 part-time coders that sort of assist when you have time?
Yeah, they are volunteers, and I can see in the channel where they Skype. I can always see the dialogue and see what they're doing, and I always see faces of people who came, for example, went away and came back, and so there are in total, like at the moment, like maybe 12, 15 people involved more or less involved in the programming. But in real, it's like if maybe 3 people would work the whole day. Yeah, we want to.
So how long have you been doing this for? How long has the team been together at this level, roughly? Just 6 months, a year?
On this level, in this constellation, it's very young.
Okay, a couple of months?
Yeah. About 1 year, I would say. Craig came to the team 1 year ago.
Okay.
And
now, is your platform functioning right now? Is it tourable?
We have a alpha status version that is in testing right now in team internal, and we will send out the invitations for the alpha testing within the next week. So we will always make like we will invite 1,000 people and see how it works and how, or if we have to scale it, go step by step. And so we will invite the people in 1,000 steps.
So how's what kind of database or interior connections do you have? You got video conferencing, you're looking at chat rooms,
yeah, that is planned. Yeah, it's all planned, but right now it's alpha.
Which one for what video conferencing? What open source you're going to use?
We have not decided yet because we are not at this point, and we want to wait on the development. We had some experience with Jitsi.
Oh, I'd recommend. Actually, I've done this for years. I'd recommend you go with. Hang on, what's the last one we went with that's actually working? Oh my god, I just pulled a blank one. Anyway, I'll come back to me. I get these blanks occasionally. Oh my god, I can't. Oh, WebRTC. God, it's been a while since I've been back in this game. Yeah, WebRTC is the way to go. I've got a system with WebRTC. It's pretty good. So I get back. I can even give a demo if you want to see that. But going back to your system. So
yeah, send us an email if you have interesting things, please.
Oh, I can just carry you over there now. Whenever, if you want, after the chart, I can just take you over to my system. It's functional. It's a fairly large software design. It took about 10,000 hours of coding. We actually did start off on Laravel and JavaScript. So we actually took those same pathways, and it became quite a large enterprise over years. 10,000 hours of coding, mostly Philippine coders. So I had a team sometimes up. 2, 3, 5, 6, up to 8 coders I ran for years. So quite fascinating. But yeah, you can do a little tour if you want, mate. You can. There's a whole bunch of chunks in there that are open source. So if you guys want to use it, that's cool.
Yeah, we will publish the code now in the next weeks.
Yeah. So are you guys open source?
Yes, we will be in 2 weeks. In about 2-3 weeks, we will still have to finish the documentation. We have to describe the API. And but then it's open, yes, because we want the idea to become real. That's what it's important for us, that the work will never get lost, whatever happens with human connection. So that's one thing which is important to guarantee, more or less, to have a further on development of the network itself, even if human connection will fail. I don't know if it will, but it's social media and press freedom, censorship, and all these things. If you research, you will get notice of a lot of things that happens right now. So it's a very difficult topic for sure. And to make a network like a social media like Facebook, a Wikipedia, like a knowledge network, and so on, it's really a big thing. So it's what we actually do is a dream. Of a network that shall serve the people, and whatever it takes, we try to make it.
Okay. So I get the standpoint and social innovation and social connection. I understand the importance of it to, I think, the future of society as a whole. And I'm a strong advocate, obviously, because I'm here. And I try to invest my small portion into humanity in any way I can over the years. And so right now I'm on another level of approaching to do that, just kind of trying to figure out where I'm going to put my energies and time and efforts. So, but in looking at your system, so we know the goal is knowable, and then we know there's the groups and the connection between those groups. So if you're trying to, obviously, if you say what kind of bonds you're trying to foster, you can say, oh yeah, camaraderie, a sense of knowledge and understanding, sense of trust, community usership. Right, you'd have got a whole set of core values. Do you have established a set of core values for the society?
Yeah, we were talking about that today. We have our core values is the United Nations Human Rights Charter. That's our basic. And actually, we do not want to build walls between the people. We want to, have a good together. And that's what we do in the development of human connection, is we insert a tool, we look if it works well for the people, and we let them also decide if they want to have it or not, or if we shall change something, or they can also suggest ideas, and we can test all those ideas, good ideas, and then see how what we have to do to make it better. And for this, we have to, it's like you build a car and you drive it on the road. And then you come back to the garage and see, okay, if you do that, it will be better, and that's actually what we do. It will be an ongoing development, but what we actually see is that with all those tools, if you have more than just comments, you see how if you go in diversing information, and things like that, it's actually quite simple. If you go into a company and you have a team meeting, you have, for example, a whiteboard with pens and things and tools to work in a team together. So that's actually what we do with social media. We build up on tools who support this, that we can work together, and changing things to not to spend more time in the internet, but to spend less time, with this network. That's the idea. It's a little bit paradoxon, but if you do everything for the people and not on a commercial idea, then everything's changing.
So when you say less time on the internet, more time in person, so you're trying to keep physical networks that have what you call a location entity.
As well, yeah, for sure. It's the most important thing to get the people on the street, because there where life happens.
So you got two scales of networking. One is more of a physical directed network where people are in proximity to each other, and secondly would be an internet network.
It's mixing everything. It's combining everything together. The network is only a tool. We, the humans, are the ones who are who have the connections and to live together or do something.
Yeah. No, so but I meant. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I don't want to cut you off. No, it's okay. I don't mind if I just jot in, because I like to move quickly through the information if I can. So don't look at it as I'm being aggressive if you want. I'm just
no. I try to
fast moving through.
You don't seem to be stupid,
Oh, great, thank you very much. So I appreciate that. So so are you looking towards like what you call a building structure, brick and mortar down the line? Oh, everybody does. But is that what you're looking for? Is what a CSI type of an event where you're sort of looking for funding in Germany under the CSI umbrella, and you're using this as a kind of a base step to get the network established, to basically proof of concept? Is that what you're working at, or?
Nina, can you help me with the translation? I didn't get everything.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, plus, I should slow down. I keep forgetting that's not your first language, because you guys are.
No, sorry. Sometimes it's hard for me to get the real meaning, because I want to give you a precise answer, and so I want to really understand. Otherwise I would talk generally about one thing and will not get the point.
Well, let me just rephrase the question so I'll make it clear. Is your what you call immediate or kind of long-term goal connected to what you call more of a social structural meeting place, where you have like ecosystems for artificial intelligence, you got an ecosystem for engineering, genetics, for 3D printing, you got ecosystems. So you're sort of creating a community of ecosystems, all specific in their own ways. You got ecosystems for education.
Somehow, yes.
So you got this combination of ecosystems, and you're trying to keep all these as a network attendant of an ecosystem. That's the position you're in. That's the position you're going for. As a network attendant of an ecosystem, or numerous, or what you call a field of ecosystems. And then I guess the primary value in that would be to share the stuff that's crucial to them. What do they need in their help and their growth? So and that's a model that's been established by CSI, which I've just come
CSI. What is CSI?
Sorry, Community for hang on, it's called CSI, Community for Social
Innovation.
Yeah.
Nina was also talking about that.
So they've done it. I just discovered them a while ago. Just joined up. Just got plugged in, saw what you were doing. I thought, what? That's great. You guys are working on some software, because I've been doing something similar in my own right. And I was really curious what you were doing. So I've been examining the same situation. Like, how does a central core organizer connect ecosystems together in a value-added way that takes social innovation to what you call upscale, accelerates it, other than doing your seminars and workshops and stuff like that. So those are the questions I've been pondering lately. That's been my biggest challenge. What's going to be the value that all of these the central organizational body is going to bring to the groups themselves? Now, I can see in CSI, if you come in with a building, wow, you just automatically do it.
Yeah, there are 2 points which I would like to go in. when you look on human connection, we are always connecting information with action. So if you read something, and if you get an information about bees, you can click on an action button and you will find action about bees.
Yeah, I went through a demo. Sorry, I forgot that. So thank you. I did go through the demo.
So that's one thing, you know, to combine this, to get people from maybe just reading news into some action, you know, because you always have to go on an action platform. So if you want to do something normally, so but when you combine this always, you know, you get them at the moment when they are interested in it and when they are thinking about something, for example, about the bees. So let's, you know, it's like to pick someone up, you say in German, you know, in the right moment. That's what we do automatically with the system. So I think this is creating a complete new thing, you know, as well as you can sort on the different things.
Let me talk for a second. That's why I got excited, because I realized the implications of what you were doing. I remember it now, because that was 4 days ago, and a lot of data goes through my head in that period of time. So all I'm saying is, I saw your piece and the bees, and that's when it made sense. Now I remember what you're doing, and it just plugged. Now here's an interesting. Let me ask this question. I got you. Let me ask you these questions. They're really important. Now,
wait, I need to write down something, because
this is the one I've been thinking about. This concept of what you call voting and additional knowledge and decision making of additional knowledge, you've sort of got a Wikipedia of values going on, which I thought was quite brilliant, because you could scale that up to what you call a technical democracy.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what I saw, and I was looking for that. What could I scale up to be a technical democracy? I was thinking of developing software, and I thought, man, this software's already done. What the heck?
Actually, you have you can simulate the one vote system within this. You know, you can like simulate like a Volksabstimmung. What's it called? When the laws are made by the people and not by a parliament, for example. You know, and if we can live that, in the network, not binding at first, you know, to the official rules, but show that it can go well. And if we can, it's for sure, and also an experiment, you know, because we get together on a platform that is not controlled by a corporate machinery, which is completely, you know, we will make many experiences. I think also very positive as well, when you think for the people and do not supply functions that are against, more or less. So we can simulate that for sure, and you can also dock in with new functions. We have now 8 functions. Here I show you that, and this is only the...
how do I see the screen? I'm only seeing one screen right now. I see one shared screen.
Yes, this is the... wait, there's the... You see here the tools?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, we got tools.
Yeah. So we have now... Yeah, we have now 8 tools here.
This is the project event
organization data bank, where you can add an organization. But now let's look at the tools. There are 8 in total now. We have so many ideas, you know, for tools like finding a consensus, or, you know, many things for research, and you can do a lot of things. So we have now 8 in total for the moment as a basic tool box, not to, you know, overdrive the people with too many functions, because it's a lot what you will see or get in human connection. So, but for the future, everything that is non-profit and also meets our charitable rules, and also the United Nations Charter of Human Rights, we can implement tools from our programmers. We can test them. People can use them, and they can like go into their settings later and switch the tools on and off, which they like or not. This means you have like if you have a Google Store, an App Store, or the iTunes Store, you have the same, but for charitable and non-profit work. And this is the interesting thing, that you can develop tools and you can dock on, you know. We will test them. It's just about if it applies to our rules and if it fulfills everything, and if that is okay, here we go, you know. If it serves the people, if we have all the benefit of that, making it better together, or bringing people faster to information faster to the people, you know, in a better way, let's do it. That's it.
Actually, this is done really well, because my thought was to head towards an egalitarian society. there needs to be a voting system, because the only way a voting system works is everybody agrees to vote together. Like, for instance, in Germany, imagine you had a mass of 150 people and they all decided to vote whatever the group decided to vote upon. So each politician would be a project, and out of that, we would have basically, you could vote for them within it, but the agreement within the group is they're all going to vote together. So, so what happens is it's what you call a social agreement of cause, which means you don't know who you're going to vote for, and that vote will not be made until the last second, but you've agreed to move together based on what you call the unified force. So your system could actually do unified voting, which would be pretty incredible. So it would work. And also you might have to have different, you could code in some fairly accurate algorithms for the voting. You could have proxy votings. You could have different voting based on time and different things within an organization, where if somebody's got an academic degree or the equivalency of, you could rate them as an academic. They get like 10 extra votes compared to the regular person that's got 2. So, and if it's in their field, you could multiply that vote by like a sort of a data match. So if it's on architecture and they're making a vote on something to do with, say, policies within a government, they could design it around that voting process around what would happen, like directly in relation to those people. So if it's a road that's going in, it affects all of these people come into the one link on the project, they click in there, they vote. Their votes are tabulated according to an algorithm. It could be a flex, or create your algorithm.
And it works everywhere, and everywhere it works the same. That is the good thing. So we developed the software, and you can use it in Japan too.
Yes.
That's it's a universal thing. And in Germany at the moment, there are many. The alternative groups are coming together. They are building small networks, databases. And there are a lot of things going on. And there's the university in Karlsruhe, Pforzheim, I think, next to me, 100 kilometers. They have a system which can allow us to control electronic votes and to prove the Echtheit, the genuinity. I don't know if it's genuine, can prove it. So it's a mathematic thing. And a friend of mine actually is involved in this project. So this could be one of the first tools which could dock into human connection from outside. I will meet that guy soon, and the networks or the people are in Germany. They are connecting now, and they are meeting up. And so I hope that this software will have a fast development when the people see what possibilities there are. And through another thing is that I wrote on my paper. The one very important point is that we will share not only the code, but we will share also the public data. That means it's an interest for everyone to see the organizations that are charitable, and we will share those informations. We will also share other informations that people made public. That means that even if they crash our server, for example, the databases and all of that things will already be in the world, so that if we do something wrong, if I will corrupt or whatever, people can just take the data and the things and build up the next network, and the data is already not centralized. It's already
interrupt you?
In the world.
I've run software, so software, so it's okay. I got the speech, man. Seriously. You got me on network security. So anyway, let's go back. So the reason I got interested with this is one of my pet projects lately was what you call values education system that I wanted to run in Africa, and it was to do with what you call social innovation, with what you call social interactions, where I create social interactions on a small scale, small events, things that are definitely, where it's shared participation. There's no entrance to get in. It doesn't matter about age groups, but it's just like what you call as many what you call activities as possible would be fed into that system. The group would then test those activities, then vote on them, leave a video list. And so that's what I'm going to use my system for, for keeping track of that data management. But it was looking at yours and it's going, well, the voting part is really crucial. I'm thinking, the voting section is everything for that. So, and it needs to be bizarre, because if you're going to vote, you need to be able to vote in such a way that it's a flexible voting system. I'll give you an example. Suppose there's going to be a flash mob. Do you know what a flash mob is?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so it's going to have a flash mob.
Democracy,
Okay, you got a city, you're in Germany, and the group's having a flash mob, but they don't exactly know where it's going to be or where it's going to be staged or anything. So people are putting in their suggestions. There's one project says we should do this and it should go like that. The other group says we should do this. The other group's saying, so 3 groups are now competing for the flash mob. Everybody's agreed to follow it based on a vote. So you got 3 competing projects that are heading towards it. And then finally the group votes and does the flash mob. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that would be another application. Right. So, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hung in school network classes, math, biology, French, music. Yeah. Public network. Yeah. You got it all. Teachers, posts and tools. Now, is this code?
The draft, yeah.
Oh no, it's the draft. Okay, because that's a lot of coding. That looks like 5 guys.
The dynamic of the user interface, the dynamic you can use for other purpose too. That's because you were asking for educational things. So you can, I will go back to this, it's in German, but to explain it in fast, you can create intranets. And you can create public knowledge from those schools who connect in a public area. They have their intranets where the pupils are also secured because they cannot get contacted by, for example, adults who should not be in those networks. So you can protect them better.
Let me interrupt again because you'll probably gain more value out of our time together if I get to interrupt you more. I'll be honest with you. And I'm not saying you're not saying stuff that's important. It's just I'm very familiar with what you're saying. So you don't have to convince me. I'm already convinced. So this is just this is brainstorming. How could this program be used effectively? That's what it is for me. It's just like I see something that's like let's take this thing out for a walk and see what it will do even at its present state. I can't remember what I was talking about though.
Hey guys, it's Nina here.
Hi,
hey Tom, nice to meet you. I just wanted to make sure that we give the other people that are on the call a chance to have their questions answered too.
Yes.
So they're not on speaker. So Bianca had a question about how we are organized. So what's the organizational model behind Human Connection? If it's not a company owning this network, who does own it? So maybe Dennis, you can speak to our organizational model and our nonprofit status a little bit.
Yeah, actually it's me who founded Human Connection in 2012. I'm the only shareholder in Anführungsstrichen. There's no like Verein. There's no like society or where many people are in and are deciding. So I started by myself, and today it's a gemeinnützige GmbH. That means that it has like an official registration and a confirmation from our tax institution that we do what we say, and that's a big question for us. So how can we, because the thing is, how can an organization like this, how can you secure it or save it from corruption, for example? Yeah, what are we doing when the network becomes relevant and somebody maybe has a problem with it? Yeah, we'll put $50 million on the table. That's what actually maybe you are interested in. Yeah, so how does it work in the background? We see a lot of risks in doing such a network, and the way it is today, or the organization as it is today, that it's only in the hand of one guy, is not something that should last long, because the responsibility should go over to many shoulders, and therefore we look for a model that we can use and work with, and the thing is that in this area where we work and in this activists world, it's not like that you hear only many things. It's like that you realize, okay, you're inside something which you cannot always see through. So if you make Nina, was heißt ein Verein, ein normaler Verein, sowas wie ein e.V. mit wie vielen Mitgliedern?
Can you hear me? Oh, I think you mean like a like a small club or association, maybe?
Like association, yeah. For example, there are many stories about associations, big ones, small ones, startups, and things. I've heard many of them that they try to, you know, kill them somehow. And if we would make an association right now, I would guess that the work would become extremely difficult, because you cannot really decide anymore to go forward. And there are many possibilities in Germany to choose another status, yeah, what you can do. And we're still not at the end of this process, because we have no 100% plan to put it on a lot of shoulders, and with the security that it will not corrupt within a few years. That means it will at the moment stay in the status as it is, so that I'm the general manager of this organization and I can decide everything. But what I'm doing is to avoid the risk of corruption, is that we share the code. That's the first thing. Everyone can use the code in the next 2-3 weeks when the documentation is ready. You can already go in and download it, actually, but it's better to read the documentation. So you can open up your own network. That's the first thing. So this value is more or less gone from human connection. If we, or if I would cheat the people, you know, they could say, okay, let's do it by ourselves. Bye-bye, Dennis Huck. Fuck you. This is how it would be. The second thing is that if we share all the public data, which are in interest for everyone, what is left at Human Connection? Left is the logo. I love it. The brand, and the users, and the address, the personal information from the user. That's left. And honestly, I will not say we will protect we can protect, we try to, but if we can, that's another question. I would not tell Edward Snowden, yeah, here on our network, it's no problem. Yeah, you can just log in and don't worry about that. We have to be realistic for that. And I do not believe that the personal information is really from the big value for those who are interested in this network later. What is important is that we will have a network that will display the things as they are in the frame of legal rights. Yeah, it has to be in the legal frame, but it will show how it is. You have if you have to imagine, and this is, I think, much more important, and for the people much more important, because I'm on Google, I'm on Facebook, they have all my data, and I don't know how many pages of data there is about me today. So from this perspective, I think I have done everything to secure to the idea that it can go on, that there is no dependencies, big dependencies, you know, on me. We will share the data as soon as possible, also because of the legal rights that could change rapidly. So all the information could maybe get lost somehow. Yeah. So, but we will try to prepare the API as soon as possible so that we can share all those information. That is what I can do from my side to make this idea happen, and to also minimize the risk for me. Because I'm a family dad. Normally I work on trampolines, not on projects like this one. And I live here in Germany. I don't have bodyguards by now. I don't have a 5-meter wall here, and I want to live a normal life. And so when Human Connection becomes really so popular, when we will make it, when we make it to a big network that has maybe 1 million users, I hope that all these actions that I have done will be enough, that human connection will be not in the focus to peep somehow. And to the future of human connection is that what I was talking with Tom about, this voting thing. When we have a moderation system that is based on one human, one voice, or one vote. That means that we will test those functions, and when we will insert new function, we will test them as well, and then ask the people. So if this works well, and if we have created a basis for that people can really get the information they need if they wanted to get their own opinion. If we can create this basics, this important thing, then we can look forward and see how it is if we will give those. If there is a decision, we will put it into human connection and ask them, and I just do what the people want. That is my job. From my point of view, this is the goal, because we all have to take responsibility in our life for our children, for this world, and we have to inform ourselves, and we have to do something, somehow. Not every day, but more and more, and it would be a good idea to look closer to the things. And we can all do that only by ourselves, and this is how what human connection is, that we by ourselves, are the change, and that we use our range of possibilities and think about what we buy, think about what we eat, think about how we talk to our children, or how we treat them, how we educate them. And I think we can do so many good things, and this is what human connection is for. Do many, many small things that change the world in total to a better.
Wow, so you started off with a non-coding background and dug into this. That's worthy. That's a headache.
I'm using the internet. I was doing research.
It's a big difference.
And I was always thinking, like, how can I get faster to information? And I always was lost when I read some things. So I thought, I need to have a button. I need to have a button where I can click on it. All these necessities came up, and that's why human connection is built like modular. The ideas came after the years I was looking onto the topic. And
so what is your background?
I built trampolines. My grandfather.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, my grandfather, he founded a small company in a garage in the 60s. He built a trampoline because he saw it on a festival. And at this time, George Nissen, the Nissen company, a big company in the US, which got bankrupt because of product liability cases, he was the only producer. So it was very expensive to send the trampolines to Europe, and the taxes and all of those things. So he built a trampoline, and he was asked for a second one because it was nice. And then it developed itself until he supplied the World Championships in '72 in Stuttgart for the first time. And since then, it became, we supplied a lot of competitions, and also then the Olympic Games in Sydney, Athens,
Beijing. Well, you're successful.
Rio.
Really successful.
See if we will also win the bid in Tokyo. But they like quality. That's a good thing for us, because we produce everything in Germany. There's no Chinese production or whatever.
Really?
We have everything here. We do the beds, the paddings, the frames, everything. It's a small company.
How did you get from a trampoline to working on social innovation? That's a bit of a jump.
The sport is social innovation as well. When you meet people from all around the world, you realize who you are. Because we are all the same. And we do not have, the people in Iran normally do not have bazookas on their shoulder and shooting around, and screaming, Allah Akbar, or whatever. The world is different, and we all have a good sense, I think, for in this modern world, where we can get information through the internet. And that's the thing, in real time, talking with people and getting information through archives, unlimited electronic archives. We can learn much faster and really realize, what it's all about.
Has become more transparent for the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a good in a lot of things, especially in social change, because ideas. I was trying to think of some methods for this to become a contagious event, right? So, because you need what I call a social contagion. If you're going to kick anything off, it has to have a social contagion in there. Because if it doesn't have a social contagion, it just sort of gets sluggish out of the ballpark. You can't get enough users to get people in there to post, to get the whole thing up and running, So you got to work a lot harder than if you got something that's really catchy. I had some ideas. I don't know if you're interested, if it's part of the discussion. Can we brainstorm your system? Is that part of the discussion?
The system is to discuss, to research. It's depending what it's depending on the user. You can use it for so many things. If you want to have news,
this would be what you call a targeted direction coding. It would be very, very precise. Like some of the things that's quite interesting in there is you have ethics as classes. So once again, ethics are very difficult to determine. Ethics can be very subjective at times. Okay, kill a person, so not if they're trying to shoot you. So ethics becomes this very complex, what you call law and everything else. So, but there's all sorts of stuff that's what you call off the ethics charge. Like there's housing issues and people can't deal with it. And there's a whole bunch of stuff happening that are ethical considerations of a society that are not being focused on. If the initial, what you call the kickoff team, focused on key ethics targeting key social communities, right? Which means there's an issue to do with immigration right now. It's an ethical issue.
Yeah.
So first of all, if you examine the ethical issue first, is this about us being protectionist, or where you look at all the factors of ethics, and if you could vote on those factors, and there was additional points, like it's a network, it's an informational chart that goes sideways, it branches out, it branches out, it branches out. So if each, what you call arguments. So if each on the ethic to do with, say, immigration, you got these arguments that come out, and out of those, and that's easy to code, by the way, that's really easy to code. And then it just spans out. So that would be interesting, because that would be contagious, because if somebody was discussing it, you might get referred to in the local news, you might get some press coverage, it might end up in the Facebook. So that's one thing I saw in your system. You could possibly use what key causes, and I think you're already doing that. You got the B's and everything else. But ethics are much tougher to look at, right? So
but it doesn't matter.
So ethics are tougher, much tougher.
No, I don't think that this is human connection is not the better world. It's the people at first. So, but if you imagine a car where you have, instead of imagine Facebook like a car. Yeah, you sit in the car and it's real hot. Your air conditioning is not working, and then you put down the window, and you hear the people screaming at all because they're just commenting. It's like we only have this function, So what if you give the people other functions, and you can do so many things, and change. So I guess what you were talking about, you said causes, you said arguments and things like that.
The arguments, yes.
That's what it's all about. If you bring everything together, also the informational basis, then you can really work with arguments and things like that. And that's what we will do, that we link all those things together so people will see the
relation. You could vote the argument as well. You could have that second,
why something happened, and what is the relationship, for example, to money. Who knows which tools, which databases we will still implement into human connection. There's at the moment only the organization's database, but what about companies? What about politicians? What about parties? What about countries? What about weapon producers? I don't know. I don't know it. We will see.
Onboarded as a we call a system of voting, even within companies. Like, for instance, supposing you've got what you call the donations of a corporation. The donations of the corporation are put up to the committed to the division of the employees. So you've got this on your system. You've got a donation of X amount of money that's going to be decided on the votes. The employees all vote on how to spend that money, and they put different votes in different levels, and the system comes along, does the mean or the average or whatever it's going to choose to determine amount, and then that money is then divvied up according to those groups, and they sort of argue it out within the collective who gets what and why.
Yeah, whatever happens at the end, but participation, I think, is the word that people start to be part of their own life.
Yes. Well, I think you're right. You're moving. We've lost our own direction. We've become.
But we have to be careful. Be careful. It's already very late. We have about 10 minutes. Then we should stop the meeting. Here it's already 12 o'clock. Most people of the team have worked more than 14 days, 14 hours again. This is the normal.
Well, if you got a finishing routine you want to talk to us, sure, I'm up for yours.
No, but just if I don't know, I have not followed if there is still questions or someone raising the hand. Otherwise, we can still use the.
Okay, sure. If you're up for staying up, I'm in Canada. It's much earlier here, so I'm in prime time.
Okay, well, in Toronto.
Hey, where are you from? Are you there, Blanca and Joachim?
Yeah, Bianca and Joachim or Joe, I don't know how you pronounce your name. They had a question regarding the alpha and how they can join the alpha. So maybe we can just quickly address the crowdfunding campaign and how people can get invited.
Yeah, we will invite all people who will make a donation to Human Connection. That's it. We would like to invite all people for sure from the beginning, but we have to make it a bit more exclusive. Otherwise, we will not make our financial goal, which is a thing of survival at the moment. That means that one moment, please. We will invite the people. We will invite the first 1,000 people in the next few days, and then we will go on to invite the next 1,000 and the next 1,000, and see how the system is stable. If we have to change things, there will be some crashes probably. There was, for example, a crash tonight but the neighbor within the same server something was happening, so our system crashed as well. But nobody knew what was going on, and we will have a lot of things like unforeseen things and see some bug fixes. So that means that, but it will take only a few days left, and everyone will be invited and heartily welcome. Later, the network will be open for everyone, like Wikipedia, because when there is someone in Africa not having a lot of money, we don't want them to spend 1 or 5 or 10 euro per month for a network. It shall be available for everyone, and I hope that the more wealthier people will take over this responsibility to pay for the people who are not able to pay, which means that everyone can have access to the network later. In this way, if later you are not registered, you will be still able to see the public posts. So it's usable like a Wikipedia. If you will see the usernames at this time, this is another question, depending on the law, on the rules and so on. But in general, you will be able to access this information even if you are not registered when it's public.
How have you funded it so far?
I paid actually most of the first years by myself. Since last year, January, we tried to run independently on donations. I still give in some money, but not that much. But the first years I was totally financing it by myself. Yeah, there are not many people supporting you when you say, "Oh, well, I would like to make a network like this." Yeah.
Oh no,
they look at you, and the first years they look at you and tell you like through their eyes, say, "You stupid asshole! What are you doing? Yeah. What are you spending for time for? For a dream that will never happen."
Yeah, you're a dreamer. It's gonna cost
years later, and it's still not that we are through the goal, but it's growing constantly. Yeah, and it's becoming real.
Well, I for one would like to help you in any way I can. I'm definitely not money wise, but as far as talent goes, I can help you. I can reduce your coding costs. I can do that quite easily, dramatically.
Please write an email to developer@human-connection.org.
Yeah, we use Philippine coders. I had Laravel guys working for $4 and $5 an hour.
Okay, yeah. Now it's Vue.js, Node.js, Docker, Feathers.js.
Well, hang on a second. Whoa, can you just put in the chat? I tell you what, put your both emails in the chat in the bottom there.
Uh-huh.
I'll just copy it over to my.
I have to look for the Nina. Can you do me a favor and write the emails in the chat, because I don't find the window for the moment, and I would like to keep.
Yeah, I did put the developer at humanconnection.org. And what's the other one?
Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Developer Human Connection. Got it. Got it.
What's the other one?
Info at.
Oh, the info at.
Oh, no, it's your one. It's your one, Nina.
Yeah.
You take it.
And I can probably help you get around some of the more advanced technologies that are out there if you're starting to use open source chunks and pieces, which we all do.
we will make meetings time by time, also with our developers in English. At the moment, just in testing all the time and bug fixing and working on the code. So there's not much time at the moment for coders to be in meetings and long meetings, because they have a plan what they have to do, and
they're racing for the goal. And in fact, the worst thing you can do is interrupt coders with change of plans, change of direction, future
Exactly. That's
to-do lists in the millions. It just drives them crazy. They need a concrete goal you need to put in front and just get out of their hair.
So when the car is running in alpha status with the minimal viable product, there will be much more time, and then we can also go into other ideas, into developments and so on. We will make meetings from time to time, so you can always join. And if you get into the team, so that means if you are interested and you can contribute things to Human Connection, you will always be online with us in a channel, and they are writing to each other what's going on, which code, where's the problem, and you see the life of Human Connection as well, and can really contribute and help when you have special skills that you can bring in. I have no idea about coding. I like buttons. I like good buttons.
Yeah, it's painful at the best. I know some coding.
Try error.
Guys at work where they're like sub-genius Einsteins. So they talk geek, they think geek, they do stuff that's just off the charts. So it's, but they're in their own world. It's like you cannot relate to that world. Oh, hey, do you want to? Are we at the last two in the chat? Is it just us?
There's I'm not in the chat right now. I would have to close this window and look for the chat, but
no, I think Bianca is still here and Joachim is still here too.
Oh, okay.
And Sanders is Sandra.
Well, if you want, we could have a discussion. If we want, we could have like an open discussion on what you call the future of social engineering, social innovation. That'd be an interesting subject. It's pretty thick, but I think that's why we're here. Here's a question for everybody: why is everybody here?
Why is everybody here?
Yeah. Why did you come? I know why you're there.
Okay. Yeah.
I meant the other group. I'm here because why I've said I'm interested. What about the other group? Why are you here?
How did you find us?
That's another question.
Tom, how did you find us?
I know. I just signed up to the Center for Social Innovation. So I was working on a project that I didn't even realize I was going to do it. I did these projects in different parts of the world. I did one in Papua New Guinea, holistic. I did one in a hospital. I've ran different software stuff. I've done different things in fairly big events, and so I was also a lifestyle lecturer for 7 years in Canada. I did I don't know, 500,000 people doing that. It was a national program for Papua New Guinea. I was in a medical hospital doing terminal cancer care in the Philippines.
You are the prof.
So yeah, I've lived for 15 years on the road. I've got PSD, by the way. I'm just beating the shit. I've been in the jungles of Papua New Guinea giving out malaria treatments. Right, I've been as far down the road as you want to go.
Be careful of Diego Garcia.
Oh, I lived in Colombia for 7 years.
Then you arrived there from nowhere.
I was a famous artist in Colombia for 7 years. Before I lived in the Philippines for 6, in Asia and Thailand and Vietnam and anyway, I've lived all over the world and I've done these pretty great. I run a fasting site, fasting.ws. It was pretty big in its day. It had 60,000 posts at one time. So you know, when you're doing something, you really want to consider all the viral implications of the whole thing. So for me, like what we're doing here, this is the big discussion. So we all know what we should do, right? We all know we should be more community minded. We all know that we should be more kind to each other. We should be more respectful. We should listen more. We should have more respect, more humility. We should work together, right? But the question is, how do you get people to change their behavior? So, okay, you get a church, people coming to the church, people shaking their hands and hugging them stuff. So, and I'm not a Christian, by the way, or secular, but just saying in that kind of environment, or in a sports team, or your local cronies at the pub, you're getting this social intimacy. But that social intimacy is connected to an activity. I don't know if I'm going too fast, but so your ball game as an activity, social activity, social framework activity.
And it always worked, you know. It's
social, social activity framework. So my question is, how can we make it work? How can we?
I do not believe that the challenge is so big, because what I was talking about when I said what is the real when we display a real network, you know, where every information has the same chance and things like that. I think things will display differently. And there's one study made by a Stiftung here in Germany. They made it 2 times all over the world. They asked the people, how much difference is for you okay between the one who has the lowest salary and the one who has the highest salary? And all over the world, the majority is saying 10 times more is sounds it's like justice, you know. It feels justice when there's not 10 times more the money that the one owns who has the lowest. And this is all over the world the same.
Yes,
and it's not depending on education or things like that. You know, we have this in our heart and in our mind. And I was like blogging for 3 years, and I had the experience that sometimes I had posts with Reichweite who was viewed, you know, 80,000 or 100,000 times, and there were maybe 2 or 3 people writing bad things, you know, about the topic or whatever. And it was like the whole soup got polluted through these 2, I'm sorry to say that, assholes, or 3 assholes, you know, who shit on everything on life, and they're always against, and they always, you know what I mean? You have these trolls like in a network. So how the networks are today is like that you give these people who are against everything, you know, the possibility to comment directly under a post. So, you know, what does that mean in a network? So if we make this different, you see it's very easy. It's not complicated. It's not a too complex thing. If you work on a network that works for the people, every decision is already clear. When you ask your heart, does it serve the people or not? And you see so many differences that it's not that I believe that the software makes the people better. It will only support the people, but the people are already better as we are told. That is my opinion. And we will see this on new networks who provide functions that really serve the people and that they can work with, you know, and see a sense. And so how do we get them? We invite them. We invite them with this action button constantly.
I think it's
all the time, and so that's what we can do.
An action button is like the button on the door. You know, it's the machinery and the engineering that goes into that.
It's the invitation. You know, it's the envelope that asks you to join, for example, an organization or something like that. And if we do that in 1,000,000 times every post, I'm sure that people will click on that button first to go on the more information, and to maybe first get their opinion about the thing or get deeper into the topic. And then later, if they see a need to do something, they can go on the action tab and see what they can do. This is what we can do. We can link information, we can show it them, we can present it on a silver tablet, you know, and invite them, but never force them. And that's, I think, the key, to invite, not to put pressure, not to say you are bad, you have to change. No, there's an information. There are people who do something.
Can I share my screen for a second? Can I share my screen?
Sure.
I'll just show you what I'm working on.
But let's close.
You guys show. Yeah, sure.
10 minutes.
Okay, there's my. I'll just show you what I've been working on. So anyway, I've got a WebRTC chat room on my platform that was sort of built as a kind of a virtual office kind of idea. Where's my?
Can you do us a favor?
I can just take you there. It might be easier. Oh, hang on.
Do me a favor, please.
Sure. What is it?
It would be good if we would do this the next meeting when a developer is with us.
Yeah, let's
because
do it.
I cannot comment anything, you know.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, you're gonna just get, and it's a massive system. It's huge.
Yeah. Please write an email to our developer because we need people, you know, who have time, the passion, the heart, and the mind to contribute to this project. And if you will be the first from overseas who will support the project with internet technology knowledge, thanks a lot. And
you're going to need that. It's a really tough battle. I had to learn the hard way. When you're making mistakes in coding, it's really expensive. You can go down avenues that waste so much time, energy, and money, and you've got to really ask yourself the tough questions to get on track.
Most projects cost the 3 times more or 4 times more.
When it comes to coding, it's 1,000 times more.
I was calculating. I started in 2016. I started to calculate that if a coder told me that it will take about these weeks, I was always multiplying by 4. Today I'm not asking anymore, my brothers, because I'm always waiting for result, and then suddenly they say, "Hey, give me your email. I will invite you for the alpha." You know, this is actually really how it works because we don't want to disturb them. If you try to put it on a calendar and say, "Here we will make this and we will finish," forget about that in software development with a team that is basically working also partly voluntarily, which means that it's depending on when they have time, which makes everything different. But it's real late, and Tom, thanks very much for this interesting conversation. I think many people have followed here with really high interest, and then I appreciate that you came here. And is that a skyline behind you?
Can I just ask you?
Virtual office.
Oh wow! Sure. It's a virtual office.
It's a virtual office. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. In this office that I can bounce between interviewing a client, talking to a staff group, talking to coders, bounce back to the central position, bounce over to somebody in chat, and just be bouncing in between all those chats like I'm dancing. I can be in all the places at the same time, but just be mute. I go in and I open and talk, or I can listen to them together.
It was a wonderful pleasure to talk with you, Tom, and I hope to see you.
You got my email. I'll send you an email.
Tom, can I ask you which CSI location you're based out of? Because I'm in
Regent.
Oh, me too.
Oh, you're out of Regent in Toronto. Oh, I live in Oshawa, by the way. It'd be great if we can get together, but I don't have a transport, so that's a bit of a challenge for me.
Okay. Well, if you ever go down to Regent Park, let me know, because I'm hanging out there quite a bit.
I'm going to have to get my butt down there. Oshawa to go train, it does seem to be a big deal, especially when I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, I got a meeting with, what's her name? Oh, gee, you got to remember the I can't remember her name. Anyway, it's a kind of program orientation. So, no, it'd be great. I'm actually looking at offering some free discussions. Like, I don't know if they're going to work or not, but on like different subjects, maybe on mentoring, on the concepts in social engineering, like the stuff that we've talked about is the concept framework. Because I really believe there has to be what you call the concept framework. Like, what are you trying to build? Like, if you're going to engineer society, what are you going to build it with? What's your parameters? What's your guidelines? And once again, there has to be an egalitarian viewpoint. Everybody has to vote together on the activities of the group. So can we create what you call a library of activities, interactions, of events, community things that people are participating in as an eco-community that fosters encouragement, enthusiasm, and can we examine that to look for the social contagions within it? That's the things that are the viral videos of human behavior.
I can tell you, we will have these things. We will definitely have it.
Oh, we're going to have them. Yeah, it will happen.
Someone else, because this times,
it's the future. It's coming.
And it will come.
Either now or tomorrow.
People will stand up and demand for those things because we are not stupid species.
Yeah. But
Definitely not. And they're very social in general, very social.
There has to be a crucial change in thinking. So I've really got this crucial change in thinking down to one simple statement. Like, are we working for the good of the collective? Like, it's a question. Am I doing this for the good of the collective? Like, what am I doing right now? Am I doing something for the good of the collective? And if I say yes to that, I can say, yes, that's something I can hold as valuable within my self-esteem. It's something I can say is going to build the future of mankind. So as long as we're contributing what you call the good of the collective, but the good of the collective, that's a question where the system needs coding. The good of the collective, what is the good of the collective? Supposing everybody's sharing $5, so instead of you say, everybody chooses where that $5 goes, you throw it in the kitty, and combined, everybody decides on what charity is going to go there through a voting system. You know, so you add value. So that's what I mean. What is the good of the collective? And what principles do you base it on, the good of the collective? Well, obviously active learning, you've got, you know, self-worth building, but even then it has to go deeper than that. And that's the stuff I'm trying to discover so I can write it down.
Yeah, the thing is that we will have the content will create this collective. So if there is someone else, for example, spreading open source construction manuals for machines,
yes,
you know, the things that will there will thrive things that will be posted or inserted into the system and that are attractive and positive for the people. And I think so we will have it's very dynamic, you know, it will never stand still. So it will always be dependent for the time. Also, if there is, for example, think of an event that where many people die, you know, as a situation that will change the world completely, our needs, everything will change. So but I hope that human connection can always be a tool to use it in the moment and for the need, what you need to what you want to do, you know, so that I think it can always be a support. But the society itself will be always the same. But the tool we can screw on, you know, we can make modifications, we can drill holes, we can make this, and on this process, I'm very positive if we are doing that in the collective, because I'm sure that already now when we talk, there's a proverb in Germany. It says, "Justice creates peace." And I guess that if we have justice, you know, within a network, that's the important thing. Will the people feel that there is justice or not? And if there is, there will be peace. Yeah. And it will be the same in the world. So that's what we have to work on. And if we don't lose this out of our view, you know, if we always focus on those things to serve the people, I'm really positive, because it's a modular system and very flexible. You know, it's just a dynamic system that connects things together in the most simple way possible. So and let's see.
Yeah, no, I think what you're doing is right, and I think, to me, this needs what you call documentation that supports it, the white papers. You know, it's because every if you really want to found an organization, say if it's a government level program, you've got to write in, like, it's got to be a big, so you could have this as a government proposal, by the way. In fact, I've got a whole bunch of material. You could actually just sort of bend it to the shape this cause quite easily and just change the name, shape it. You can definitely, it'll definitely put up your criteria, but what you're doing and why you're doing it.
It's about the idea, and it's why I do it. My daughter, and the perspective on the future that we will all have to face.
I might go down a specific. We're talking the neurology, the social psychology. You know, the actual, you know, the social dynamics. That's what I'm saying, because you're not just, it's not just what you call values, it's much more complex than that, what actually you're doing. You're actually creating a social structure, a sort of social architect. That's the ultimate goal of anything of this nature. You're trying to create what you call a framework for humanity. And a framework in such as it's a value exchange based on the commonality. So instead of a value exchange for money, it's a value exchange for the commonality. So how do you get that message across? What's your base text that supports that concept? Yeah. And then out of that, this is what you're doing to support that what you call the grander vision, the vision of mankind is a more stable.
We will release a teaser, maybe already this night, and you will see the core message of human connection.
Oh, sure.
that breaks it down to what the people also who work at Human Connection believe.
So how
but
big
it's
is
no,
your,
it's
how
no
big is your team, by the way?
ideology or religion or something like that. I want to really.
Well, I know like religion is, but you also need some tenets that are not religious, but they have a punch.
I can tell you that that's one really special thing at Human Connection. I work here with people together who I've not seen many times, and very, very closely together. One program I've not seen since we work together, since a few months.
Oh.
And normally you should believe that like this, it can corrupt so quickly, and it's so sensitive. But the thing is that I have seen many people coming and going, and there's a hardcore that stays. And in this core, there are people who are not there because only for themselves. They are there for Human Connection, and they put their ego aside in the question of what we're doing next when it's about Human Connection.
Would you say they're mostly academics, or just a mixture of regular people? Which is cool?
I mean, from the beside the educational status, it's the fact that we go after that. I told you before, I was talking about that, that if we think about, does it serve the people? And you ask your heart, the answer is normally very, very clear. And this is how we work at Human Connection. We were talking about who owns the organization, who runs it, who makes decisions. Officially, I am making the decisions. But for example, in the programmers team, they are making almost all decisions by themselves. They are choosing the programs, they are choosing the frameworks, they are choosing what to do next, actually. Yeah. I mean, I can influence that, but we leave them alone. So I tried to give away all this knowledge and all the things, and they get on the same level. So when we have something to talk, we meet, and there in the team, and the people who really stay, also when the shit is really meters high and you have to dig it away, and these are, and the people who really dig with you and stay, these are the people who have this I will say knowledge about why we do it and how we do it, that we do it, and it comes from the heart, and there's so much sense inside, and there's a team. It's really connected. I only can say it like that, and we do not have to talk. We know that we are on the same way because we are working for Human Connection, and that makes it very, very strong. It's a real strong connection, because the questions are, if you do everything for the people, there is no question about transparency. There's no question about how you use the money. There's no question about data protection. There are no questions when it's about to serve the people. Very easy, simple as this. And I think that our whole economic system has to be, from the Volkswirtschaftslehre, you say the money, is the thing to fulfill the human being. But today, the human being is fulfilling the bank account or the money. And it's the fundamental, I think, thing that we have to change. But all answers also in this section are very clear. For example, if the right on water, should we give that into the hand of corporations? Does it serve the people? Not at all. And every question we can go that way, and that makes Human Connection very strong. It's not an ideology, or or religion or whatever. It's so clear what we do, and this makes it, I think, very, very strong, and also is giving the chance for the future. And this is the future, actually. It's the modern thinking of humans within this universe where we are, and we have to realize some things. And I think we already have realized. We know many things inside ourselves, and there are some rules which we should not ignore.
Just quickly, I don't know, Tom, if you were at that event, but I was just earlier last week, on Friday, I was at an event that CSI had put up with Muhammad Yunus. I don't know if you know him. No. He's the founder of the Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. He's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Amazing guy. I think he's 78 years old, but he's super dynamic and young and amazing. So he shared his story of how he basically turned the banking system on its head and built a bank for the poor. And he's giving out loans to the poor, and the poorer the better.
I read about this. No, I read about the micro
Yeah.
loan. Yeah, no, I saw the video. That was excellent. Yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah, so it was very interesting. And his thought process is the same thought process that basically Dennis is putting forward when it comes to human connection. It's the same process. He says our capitalist system, or the way that society is structured right now or working, does not take advantage of our inherent human nature, which is not just self-interest.
I gotta write it down.
It is selflessness, right? It's altruism. We are social beings, and we've always been, since the beginning of humankind, have worked in
you just said. You repeat it.
Oh, I can just type it down.
No, I'm serious. I'm working on a book right now. It wasn't a book, but it's becoming a book. I'm serious. It wasn't a book. It's becoming a book. Well, I think it's at 30 pages right now, and it's really thick writing. It's getting deeper and deeper. So I'm getting all of these like little cool deepities, these little nuggets. Because what I'm looking for is like when she was like, when you're on fire like that and you're talking, that's the stuff you need, because that's what drives the core movement. It's that kind of talk, it's that kind of language, that kind of energy. It's like where there's an impulse to buy. But what you said about capitalism, I know, or capitalism, not efficient for the little guy.
I just put the link of his book in the chat here. Yeah. So if you want to check it out.
I can work off that simple statement about the effect of capitalism on small business and social intervention. It's not part of their criteria. It's not in their sights. They only do culture within the corporations because it increased productivity. So I totally agree. It's that we are in this capitalistic society has created individualism, and the psychology of individualism is basically made as what you call people. We don't care about the collective. We don't care about our neighbor. We care about us. And when that becomes rampant within society, you get a whole bunch of selfish people trying to make decisions, and then you get polarity, and then you get Donald Trump. So,
I know,
right? So the reason you got Donald Trump is
you ever recorded in American history.
I mean, you're watching society go down the path to hell. I mean, that Donald Trump movement, that's only the first wave of this stuff. This is where people are plugging into parts of their brain, their amygdala, and instead of their frontal cortex, they're plugging into their insular cortex and pumping all these neurons. I mean, that's going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's a little scary to me, because I can see a deterioration in society just because of this, what you call mass herd mentality. You know, just the entire globe just gets moved on some crazy, stupid, an email, and next thing you know, the whole world's changing or something. The entire world's focus is focused on some crazy email. People are still dying and starving and everything else. And what did the email say? What did it say? What didn't it click? So that's the danger I see in society. And I also see that we're heading towards artificial intelligence, and I'd love to get some AI in the system. That would be a real dream for me. But artificial intelligence is going to be seamless. You've already got chips in your phone. The new phones have AI capabilities. They're jumping a fold of 10-fold with GPUs. And so by 2-3 years from now, you're going to have what you call focused artificial intelligence inside your telephone. So which means you'll be able to know what you're doing and what you're on. And that will upgrade every year to basically being the equivalent of an engineer or a doctor or a dentist or whatever you ask that phone the question. So we're not kind of used to these, what you call, just accelerating exponential leaps in technology, and we're about to see it. Like, Watson and Go and a quantum computer and the rate it's going. 3 years, you're going to start seeing the first hit in your personal life. So what's going to happen with AI? It's just going to be a seamless integration. You're just going to be following its decisions on the phone. What should you do today? Where should you put your effort? Where should you put your time? The computer's going to run algorithms, social algorithms, resource algorithms. They're going to estimate, I should probably go down here, meet your friends. They're all meeting, right? So these computers are going to follow our social algorithm that's already established for the better or worse.
We can imagine. We can imagine if we find it in all these life sections, yeah, social life,
it will.
Or healthcare and all of these things. It will be that's one of the most biggest challenges is the technocratic age. Yeah, that's the thing when we will we will be talking to machines later. Oh, we do already do, yeah, but it's there are a lot of risks inside. And George Orwell might be not too far away from.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it coming soon.
Yeah, I read, I don't know which company, but I read there's one US company that already had asked their employees to put a chip in their head. So
in their head.
Yes, there's a microchip, like how you microchip dogs. They microchip you, and it's like in your neck or somewhere. It's under your skin. And
okay, I understood in your head. So, oh my God.
No, in your head, like
probably under your ear or the back.
Yeah, somewhere there. So
there's lots of areas.
Yeah, so there's already some sort of, you know.
But yeah, that's RFID technology. But there's also other technology it's just a sensor. It just goes in your skin. It's like a tattoo. And that tattoo can't be changed. It's a bioidentical tattoo. So that tattoo would be enough to do the entire job. You'd have to swipe your hand though. But these sensors are probably, that will be the future. They'll be able to track your car, you, and all your possessions, where they are at all times.
We will see. There's a lot to do. And
G5 technology is going to tell them exactly where it is, because they got to actually get a path to the device.
Yeah, the question is more or less not the technology, but how it's used. How our ethics standards will be, or our laws, how we will, what relationship the society will have to technology, and who will gonna try to use the technology to control. That's what we're talking about. I apologize, but it's time for us to leave the meeting. I want to say again, thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. I hope to meet you next time again, and maybe see you also in one of the programmers channel or wherever. And let's keep in touch and see you again. Is there still any one question from someone else which was not answered this evening? Okay.
And I just want to close up and say, by the way, I see your passion. Awesome, man. I think that's awesome, that passion, that genuine, authentic desire to do good for humanity, man. Hats off, total respect.
Thanks for the feedback.
The fact that you're doing it and you're taking risks to do it, total respect, buddy. You know, that's what it's all about. That's the people that change the world, man. Quietly in the background, just following their inner soul, just pushing through all the obstacles because they believe somewhere in the end of the world, they're going to do good somewhere, somehow, to someone. So just let me say that's my ultimate respect for where you're going. And I do see where your platform is going. I can clearly see a business model. I can clearly see the value to society. And I definitely support it in whatever way I can. I'm not going to say the same money because I'm in the same boat as you. I got software I'm trying to launch. So, but I can easily, there's certain things that are easy for me to do and help you, and definitely could work with your programmer and might give him a boost because I could probably triple the amount of value you're getting out of your coding hours. So
thanks a lot.
And it would make things easy. We got some pretty advanced systems for how we distribute to the network, and it's pretty I don't even understand it, I'll be honest with it. We got so many friggin' systems in place, it's just crazy. But it's pretty cool. But hopefully there'll be some value for you in direction. But definitely I want to continue pushing and try to gather around myself people that are thinking like yourself. Like, we're joined. We are unified by a cause. Right now, you could say the three of us in the room are clearly unified by a cause. Which we haven't.
Actually, we'll find a lot of people having exactly the same mood like me.
Yeah, and that's what we need. We need that to come into a singular voice and a singular action. That's going to be the challenge. So yeah, you could say 4 or 5 people in this software build. Yeah, that's an equivalent of that, but I meant on a larger scale. And that's what I think you can use these kind of systems to do. You can create what you call transformation on a larger scale just by creating the vehicles for it.
One more question before we end. the meeting here, is it okay for the people here in the room if we publish parts of it?
Oh, sure, of course.
On YouTube, or if we use that for advertising or teaser or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's many people, they are interested in, you know, what's going on, and it's almost impossible to write FAQs for what we were talking about. You know what I mean? It's like a thing where you can start this. Then yeah, thank you to everyone who was attended here at this meeting and is interested in our work and a Human Connection. And thanks for all the support that we receive. And let's hopefully get this done and released open beta in October 2018. Could be a good year. Thanks a lot to everyone. Good night.
You're welcome.
And good evening.
Bye. Bye, Bianca. Bye, Dennis. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.